We're continuing our coverage here from the World Economic Forum in Davos, and joining me now is Ajay Singh from SpiceJet. He is in fact the first Indian to be chairing a committee that looks at the issue of aviation and transportation, etc. So congratulations on that, and thank you very much for joining us on CNBC TV 18. Let me ask you about the story back home to start with, because while crude prices have come off, which has given companies like yours a sense of relief, there has been a slowdown while growth continues, but there has been a slowdown in the number of passengers flying.
I think there is no great slowdown in the number of passengers flying. In fact, we found that as you start new flights to new destinations where there have been no flights in the past, you seem to fill them up pretty quickly. So the underlying demand is extremely strong. I think the issue really is in the yield. We need to make sure that we take up average fares.
How is that going to happen? I was having a conversation with Sunil Mittal literally 5 minutes ago, and he's hopeful of being able to move ARPUs higher. But in a competitive market where, it's the airlines that are actually discounting and deep discounting, how does one see yields moving higher?
So, today the average fare between Delhi and Mumbai is 4,000 rupees. We are absolutely confident that if you move this up by 10% and start charging 4,400...
Who's going to take the first move?
It has to be the market leader. It has to be the company that has 42% of the market
So your
share.
message is to Rahul Bhatia and IndiGo?
Absolutely. They need to take up yields, and everybody will follow. And I can tell you that there will be nothing. There will be no impact whatsoever on the demand of aviation in India.
Do you have any indication that we're headed in that direction?
So let me say that I think that through 2019, the capacity addition in India will be somewhat moderate. The reason for that is that, with the problems happening at Jet and at Air India, there is going to be no capacity addition. If anything, there's probably going to be a reduction in capacity for both those airlines. Some of the Airbus carriers are also having trouble with this Pratt & Whitney engine. And as a consequence, it's likely that there will be only a modest increase in capacity. So if the underlying demand remains strong and the capacity addition is moderate through 2019, we should be able to take up yields. So, the larger issues, of course, remain. We need to bring down cost of aviation. We need to bring down cost of airports. We need to bring down cost of, aviation turbine fuel. As you know, this issue of GST has been pending for a long time.
Yeah.
We pretty much have consensus on that now. The central government, most of the state governments are on board. We need to take it into the GST ambit. I think there are only one or two holdover states. And we need to work hard on them to make sure that they follow. And I think that's going to be easier to do after the election.
And this is a question that a lot of people are sort of grappling with. What is wrong with the Indian aviation business? Why is it that we're seeing so many airlines being in trouble, some go under, some on the verge of going under? Is it a systemic issue, or is it really airlines who have done things the wrong way?
It's a bit of both. I think the fact is, there is always, we keep hearing about that Warren Buffett statement that if you want to be a millionaire, start with $1 billion and start an airline. Actually, airlines in India have proven the opposite to be true. Airlines like IndiGo and SpiceJet have literally started with $1 million and built businesses $1 billion plus. So we think that the potential is immense, that the growth can be terrific. We need some discipline on the yield, and we need to bring some of our inherent costs down. In terms of why airlines do badly, see, some of them are legacy airlines. They have a different cost base. When you have a different cost base, you need to sell a different product. You need to sell higher fares. So airlines like Air India and Jet Airways, which are full-service airlines, must sell a full-service product.
What about your international aspirations? A few months ago when we spoke, you were still toying with the idea of low-cost fares to London. What's the story as far as your international plan is concerned?
I think there is no doubt that there will be a massive international expansion for SpiceJet through the course of the next 2 years. We've just started a flight from Delhi to Hong Kong, a daily flight. We will be starting several flights this year to international destinations. What has happened is that as as we've added MAX aircraft in our fleet. We've got 10 of them now. Not only is that reducing cost for us, the fuel burn is about 22% lower, the engineering cost is much lower, and so on. But importantly, these aircraft give us greater range. So when you can fly 1 hour longer, you can reach destinations which you could not have reached otherwise. So we will be utilizing those aircraft to get to other destinations. As far as London is concerned, I think several of us have looked at those kind of destinations with a tech halt. And we continue to look at that.
But the economics doesn't work out?
We believe that they are a little bit of a challenge. They work out at a certain cost of fuel, and they don't work out at a certain cost of fuel. So we'll see how it goes. But there are plenty and enough destinations to go to, really. And we think that Indians increasingly want to travel overseas, and sometimes it's actually cheaper to go to Bangkok for a holiday than it is to go to Goa.
True.
So we think that there is great potential, and I think hopefully with all the great work that this government has done over the last 5 years, and hopefully some of this can continue and the economy can continue to grow. Of course, we need to start now to look at not 7%, 7.5 and 8%. We need to look, I think, more realistically at a 10% growth for the next several years, and we need to work, all of us, towards that.
Let me end then by asking you, 2019, what are you going to be most concerned about, and what do you feel most confident about?
I'm most concerned about a fractured government. I think we've had that experience before. It doesn't serve the country well, and I do hope that there is going to be a government which will have a decent majority. And in terms of, I think India will remain the fastest growing economy in the world, and I think if we can all work together, we can grow even faster than we anticipate. And look at what's happening around the world. I mean, with the problems happening between US and China, with Brexit happening, I think truly India is the one shining star. And cliche as it is, it really is does feel like the land of opportunity.
Well, we wish you the very best of luck, and always a pleasure. Thanks very much for joining us here on CNBC TV 18.